What's going on, everybody? Zane here, back with another video. For this one, we're going to go over question number 206, which is the reversed a linked list question. So essentially, we're given a linked list, and our task is to return it as a reversed list. So it's pretty straightforward. If you take a look at the example, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns back out to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when tackling this, for me personally, what works is I wanted to first have some sort of value that will store our previous value, and that I'm just going to set it to null. Then we need something for our current value, and we'll just set that to the head because that's what we're going to be working with. So we'll set our head to be our current, and now what we can do is we'll run a while loop, and while something is fine, we will start swapping our list node values, or our list nodes. Or I think the proper term here would be we're swapping our nodes, not our list nodes, but regardless. So I'll say while the current has some sort of value, so it's not null. Now let's get the temp value. So we'll say a list node temp. And you know what, let's call this next node, because the next node is really what it's going to be. And it's just going to be the next value in our current list node. Now that we've obtained our next value from our list node, of our current list node, what we can do now is we'll say that current.next is now going to equal the previous value. The previous value will then become our current value, our current list node. And then lastly, current will become the next node. Now, just to break this down here, what we're doing is we first establish some previous value. We'll set it to null because this doesn't matter. We just need to, well, technically it does matter. Actually, we do need it to be blank because we're going to set it later. And technically we don't have a previous right now. And then our current is just going to be whatever we're given. And now that we have those two, we can establish what our current, previous, and next values are. And now we can use that mechanic to our advantage. So while the current list node has some value, we'll find the next value here on line 20. Then we'll set the next value of our current to be the previous value. Then the previous value will become the current value. And then our current value will become the next node. So essentially, we're swapping all the way down until we get to the very end, which is where null would occur, which is when we break out of this while loop, and we just simply return our previous list node. And the reason we're returning our previous rather than our current list node is because our previous is what's being used to traverse essentially backwards. Our current will stay as our head here, or as our regular list node. So if I was actually to return current, let's see what we get. We're actually getting blank, so that's definitely not going to be the case. And frankly, I had run this with a return current and nothing was working out, and I thought maybe I had to do current.next, but that didn't make sense to me. And of course, there's a null pointer exception. So then I realized that, well, previous is the list node that we use to kind of to represent our answer. And perhaps the better answer here could be, instead of calling it answer, or instead of calling it previous, we can call it answer. And then perhaps that'll make a little bit more sense. But once we run this, this should work out. So this one is kind of tough to wrap your brain around. I know for me, I had to do this at least 10 times to actually understand what was going on. But we're essentially just doing some sort of action as long as the head is not null. And we're swapping our values using the property of the previous, next, and current. But in this case, I don't want to mix things up with saying previous because there is a current dot like previous. But regardless, we'll do some swapping and then we'll return our answer. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Nice and sweet. If you have any questions, comments, or if there's some feedback you have in terms of how we can make this better for you guys, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, hit that like and subscribe button, show me some love, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.